on? Hey, everybody. Welcome to Bonus Stuff. We just got done reviewing Joker Folle et Deux. Hopefully, I don't have to say that anymore because I'm pretty sure I don't say that right. So go check out that review and tell us what you thought of it. And meanwhile, we have gotten to the end of the most fantastical epic of our lifetime, and that is Rings of Power, episode 8, Shadow and Flame. So let's get it started. We start with the dwarves, and Durin is arguing with Durin to take off that stupid ring because he is just obsessed with getting into his golden chamber. And some dwarves get hurt. I guess the king hurt them. I don't know. Because they're like, take this man to the healing chamber. I didn't know that dwarves had a healing chamber. I'm pretty sure that's not what they would call it.
Straight out of Dragon Ball Z.
It's a healing chamber. Take off the ring. He tries to like, hey, remember when I was a kiddo and you would arm wrestle me and you would like let me win? Haha. That was fun days. And the dad's like, I don't care about that. Dwarves should never beg because he's like begging them. And finally, there's some rumbling in the chamber, and a whip comes out and grabs a man's leg. Who could
Where
this
have we seen
be?
that scene before?
Where could this be going?
Indiana Jones.
It is our old friend,
Exactly.
the Balrog. He has awoken, and he is going to fight the old man Durin. I don't think he's going to make that leap, guys. He's a little guy. I don't think
that's much of a matchup. He's going to get smoked.
So King Durin goes out in a blaze of glory, I guess you could call it, leaving Durin very sad indeed.
For any reason? Do we have any reason why he didn't just turn around and follow the other dwarves out? Nope. No.
We don't got a reason. And I guess the Balrog, what's blocking him from getting out now? It's just like...
He's napping. So he started screaming. He was napping.
I guess he knocked him out, and now he's sleeping.
Oh, sure. Yeah. What's stopping him from coming back after Dwarf jumped at him? I have no idea. Is this guy supposed to be Saruman?
Yes.
Is he actually?
He's constantly calling Goof off his old friend. He says that, remember that there was 5 of us that came to Middle Earth. So this is Solomon. He is here, and we're losing Thomas.
Dude, you didn't even watch the episode, Thomas. You didn't even watch the episode, man. It's just like, it's whenever he said that, he was like, he kept saying that. I was like,
didn't go to the east. The Blue Wizards did. Not Saruman. Saruman stayed in Middle Earth, like a proper Middle Earth, like in the west, not the east. The east is where the 2 blue wizards went off at the beginning of the first age, and they never were seen again. No, they were never seen again.
No, you know what they're doing over there, though?
What are they doing over there?
They're singing, I'm blue, da ba dee da ba da.
I wish that, honestly, that would make more sense than this freaking show. I almost said, oh my God.
Yeah, it just dawned on me while I was during this scene, actually, and I was watching him, and I was like, wait, he's using the same language. He kind of moves the same, and his hair is just not white, but it's the same stuff. I was like, is he supposed to be Saruman? I was like, oh, geez, Louise. And then just wait, Thomas. Wait till we get the reveal of the character on the right of your screen right now. Just wait. It's coming, Thomas.
Also, they didn't come at...
Also, they didn't live in Pueblos. Look at that ladder. It looks like what you would use to get in.
Nice ladder.
Yeah.
And we didn't know that he was evil the whole time. It wasn't Sauron's effect on him. He's just an evil guy.
What a shock.
Because pity won't defeat Sauron. We have to, we are going to be the successor to the Dark Lord, he tells Goofoff. And Goofoff doesn't want any part of this. He's like, I'd rather... wander without a name than join you, Solomon. And he's like, fine, come back when you catch a brain. And he uses the Force. And
I thought Gandalf was training to be a Super Saiyan with Tom Bombadil.
He's training to be a Jedi, because look at this. Have you ever seen this before? Yes, you have. It's from the Last Jedi, where Rey picks up some rocks, and now Goof Off can pick up rocks with the Force. So then we head to a Numenor.
Oh dear God!
Thomas's favorite.
This is when I message you guys because I'm watching this at work. Thomas, literally. So we saw this short at the end of season 1 or whatever. They didn't mention it, whatever. And then so Lady Queen. I'm hijacking this scene, just so I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Queen Lady, whatever her face is like. Hey, guess what? I'm gonna stick around because blah blah blah. But you gotta run. You can't stick around with me because the rebellion's still happening. They still like giant eyebrow man for some reason. And literally beat for beat, Thomas, camera angle for camera angle, they recreate Viggo's drawing of the sword in front of Elrond in the camp. It's literally the exact same shots. They do it with this guy, and he's in front of her, and he pulls out the sword and holds it. I was like, why? What was the purpose? You're like, oh, have you guys seen the movie? Remember the Lord of the Rings movies? Check it out. We can hold the cameras in the same. I was like, whoa.
It's the same
lack
sword.
of creativity just blew my utter mind. I was like, why are we doing this? You got to see the side by side, Thomas. It's absurd. It is
that
absurd.
supposed to be? Is that supposed to be Narsil?
Yes, they call it Narsil.
They call it Narsil.
Okay, why does he just now have it?
It's just been sitting in that room this
It's
whole
a
time.
gift from the Queen.
Yeah, the Queen gives it to him. And then he does the drawing.
That is their family sword from the first age.
Nope, the Queen gives it to him.
The Queen gives him, and then he
Powerful
rides
That
off.
is a Christmas gift, Thomas.
That is a happy birthday.
Well, it's a going away gift because
Yeah,
she's
true.
gonna stay and he's gonna go.
But the fact that they just, I don't know.
They should have Santa from Narnia give it to him and be like, this is a
That would
good soul.
That would make more sense at this point.
Probably. I don't know. The whole scene just made me so upset, though.
Yeah.
I was like, you get why? It's just like, oh, these guys are connected. If we didn't have hammered that into your brain yet, I don't know.
So-
I was upset.
The Queen got spit out by a worm, right?
Yeah.
But they believe some paper this guy brings. It's like, hey, the Queen is actually the bad guy, not me. Even though she got spit out by the
We flip flopped 4 times on who the leader of the Numenorians is between the same 2 people for no reason, but except for birds, worms, and paper.
Okay, so the orcs
Mighty Morphin Power Elf over here.
the orcs are doing a rampage, right? They're killing elves left and right. Gladys and the Pips they escape from the castle, and they get ambushed by these orcs, and they're like, we're gonna kill you. And she's like, I'll give you 9 reasons not to kill me. And she gives them the reasons.
I forgot about that line. I don't even remember.
Wow.
Did Elrond give them to her? I must have missed that.
Yeah,
I totally missed that.
in the last episode.
I was like, why?
Yeah, she was supposed to take them and like run.
She
And
goes back.
instead, She goes back to save these elves. Oh my goodness. Our man Kelly, he's being tortured by Sauron. He's
He got
like shooting arrows
speared.
into him. Yeah, he got speared to use for another day. He gives this big speech about, that you don't own the rings own you, Sauron. And
Oh, what
his
is?
last
Oh my
word-
God! I forgot about this.
That's not how they work.
You
His last
want to
words.
hold on. Do you want to, Jared Thomas? Try and guess what this boy's last words were in this series.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were his last words?
I like rings.
It has
No,
rings
so
in it.
He's like, hey, you want these rings, you think you're gonna control these rings, but one ring
Oh.
will defeat you. And he's like, you're like a prisoner to these rings. You are the Lord of the Ring.
He literally
He said
that.
the thing.
He
said
literally
the
said,
thing.
"You are the Lord of the Rings." I mean,
Did you scream?
I mean, I just slapped myself in the face. It's just like, it's just
What a waste of a cool character. I mean,
Oh, this guy was a wimp, though.
oh, dude, like I wish you guys had played. Did anybody else play Shadow of Mordor?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I know Michael did.
Oh.
No,
No.
I
You
played
played-
the second one.
Oh, you never played the first one?
God, Brimborn in
Dude,
that
he's so
game
cool.
is so cool. He's perfect. He's so cool in it. This guy's just I almost said a word. I can't say that word.
I just couldn't believe that they dropped the title like that, man.
Yeah.
It's like, what are
Man,
you
they were
doing?
just pumping Michael full of fan
That's
service.
like-
He was like dying.
That's like Aslan going like, "You guys will witness the Chronicles of Narnia."
It's pretty much like if he had spiked the camera there, it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Just winks at the camera.
I can imagine Tolkien just like catching fire in his grave,
Oh
and
man.
then C.S. Lewis just cracking the hell up right now. It's like, you thought that they torched my adaptations in the movies?
Oh, wait till Greta
dude.
Wait till Greta comes for you, C.S.
Oh
Lewis.
God, I'm not looking forward to that.
Don't be so mean.
All right. Isildur gives
The
some
two
hugs.
characters we do not care about in the slightest. Go
We
ahead.
don't care about at all. He gives hugs to this guy. He wants a shake, right? He wants to just shake his hand, but the guy hugs him.
Is that the kid?
Yeah.
That's the kid, yeah.
Mm.
He's saying goodbye.
So did Don Limitless like just die?
Wait, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, okay? We forgot to mention Orc Daddy comes in to see Sauron,
Yeah.
and he's like, he's like, Sauron's like, hey, little guy, what's your name? And Orc Daddy is so touched that he's going to join Sauron's team. So remember that. And then he smooches this lady because this lady's like, my betrothed has got me he's building me an awesome like beach house, and he's giving me the world, but I don't love him. So let's smooch, man.
Did he
So
get him some? Was there
a
sexy
little bit.
scenes?
Just a little
it's
bit.
just some necking.
Wait, is this that random chick he rescued?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not
Is
a real
she-
character.
Is she like important or something?
No.
And
Don't
She's just some
remember.
dude's babe that he's trying to steal.
Oh.
whose is she? Because like
She's a
She's
made
not
up
property
character.
common. She's a woman.
sorry, who's like betrothed is she? Because
Some dude
Oh,
I don't remember.
I know. I don't.
Some random dude. They
Oh,
show
they're
like
from that faction, the Lowlanders or whatever. I don't know.
they aren't
Uh,
rich.
Well, he has given her the world, and she just despises him for
Also, that's like one of the kings of Gondor. I
Mhm.
know. I
it.
just
Mhm. And he's gonna smooch himself a Lowlander. So look at this
Oh
scene.
god.
What is poor Adar doing there?
Looking for some bugs to eat.
He lost his
Really likes the
contact.
rock.
He has lost his contacts, guys. So before we get to Adar, we just say the Numenorian or Isildur, they're gonna go leave on a boat. The guy, Jared Kushner guy, is there. He's like, "You can't leave. Your father's a convict," and he's like, "We're getting on that boat." And that stuff was pretty stupid. Okay, so Adar. He is. I don't know what he's doing. He's setting up a surprise for old
Very
Galadriel. So
pointed. Don't look at me.
yeah, don't look at me. She's like, oh, turn around. You're beautiful. He is beautiful. I skipped the part. There's Orc Daddy. He's coming in on a stretcher. Okay, so Adar has the ring, right? So it has reverted him back to his elf self. And Galadriel's, you're hot. And
He's
like-
gorgeous.
he's like, what was your name? And he's like, oh, I don't remember. It just is not important. My name's not important.
Slotty Botfast. I'm sorry, it's not important.
You want me to trust the man who won't say his name?
Slotty Botfast.
So he still thinks that she'll join his side. So he gives her the ring. And he turns ugly again. And like you saw, Orc Daddy was on the stretch. They bring him on the stretcher. And
Aw.
Adar, that's his child. That's his little child. So
His
he's like,
little boy.
what happened, man? And they're like, no, Sauron, he tried to turn him to his side and he killed him. And Adar's like, oh, my child. But Orc Daddy wakes up and he's like, no, and he stabs him. And Adar gets shanked. And while they remember the scene at the first episode where they're like killing Sauron and all the orcs. So they play that out again, but this time with Adar. Galadriel is shocked, man. She can't move. She can't talk. She is just shocked by what she is.
It feels like he was hot.
And then Sauron walks just like right next to her, and they're like, "How's it going?"
Hey, what's up?
He takes his crown, and he wants the ring, so they're about to fight. They do fight a little bit.
We have to discuss this fight as well
They go,
because this fight is so stupid. Like,
Meanwhile, yeah,
okay, yeah,
we're
we're gonna get to it. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So meanwhile, the orcs are having their own summer of love. They're tearing down statues, and they got the Elrond and the king captured.
Almost made a really bad joke, but I cannot say that on this podcast.
So you see these scrolls here. This is Kelly's, like all his works, all his notes.
Is
and
that King Gil-galad?
Yeah, he's captured. So they're like they're gonna burn like all the literature. And
are those the
like,
famous Cimmerals?
No.
Oh.
So they're gonna burn them, and everyone's like, "No, kill us instead. Just leave them. Leave. Don't burn them."
The ancient Jedi texts.
The orc laughs at them and just like burns them, and everyone's like, "No." So they're gathering up the prison, and who's here?
I thought he died.
It's Don Lemon. He
Don
was
Lemonless.
dead, man. Adar had killed him in the last episode, but there he is.
Doing
It's a
cartwheels
miracle.
and everything, man.
Yeah, man, it's a miracle. We don't know how it happened.
Like Aslan, he rose the second day.
It will probably never be explained, but he lives again. So the fight. So of course they showed us in the trailer that he's got to use the crown as a sword, and they're fighting. They're fighting on top of Stonehenge for some reason.
He didn't have a crown, right? He had a helm, very much like Morgoth's. But I'm
They gotta build it out, man.
I'm gonna keep it.
He added to it later. This was the beginning.
Yeah. Upgrade.
This is like the middle.
Thomas, give
This
us
is
the
like-
lore.
This is like the middle.
I know, Thomas, read up on the lore a little bit. So he starts shape-shifting. Look at that. It's handsome Hellbrand again.
Because he knows that Galadriel is easily seduced, so you could just be.
Dude, she'll be seduced by anything, man.
Yeah.
She's like 7,000 years old at this
You can
point,
still be
right?
seduced at 7,000 years old.
Hey, man, she's just in her prime for elf lady. So for some reason, he doesn't have a beard like he did. I guess he didn't want to put that on back on. He also turns into her.
She's
It's
even
the-
more seduced.
She gets to fight herself a little bit, and then the last one he turns into Kelly. And did you want to talk more about this scene, Michael?
I do. I don't, but I do. I will say, if utilized properly, the actual visual of him with the sword, and because he kind of uses the crown as just basically like a parrying thing or like a block.
Yeah.
It visually could be very cool. Like there are some parts where he's just kind of catching it and he swipes. But the progression of this fight. So she circles around that pillar we see right now, and she follows him. They start fighting on the upper part of this stupid thing. And like beforehand, it's just kind of a bunch of swipe block, but he's like not really using the helmet, just kind of hanging there for visual effect. But I'm like, if you'd been like spinning like freaking Sauron's doing on the planes in front of freaking Minas Tirith, that would like he's just doing some crazy spin stuff, but he's just like, it's like it's super lame. But then they go around here up on the top part. And it's getting to like, 1v1. They're getting dramatic, everything. And then one of the square rectangular pillars just falls. I can't remember if he stomped it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The thing falls. It's just stuck in my brain because I was stupid.
Dwarf saying something.
How stupid it is. Because I mean, they're only maybe like they're both elves, very powerful things. They've done a lot of stuff. She jumps around like a Jedi right here, and this rock falls about 8 feet, hits the ground. She rolls off. They both roll like they just got shot or something. Like they're just, and then she's on the ground and she can't get up from this tiny fall, even though she's jumping around like a Jedi. But he's walking all dramatically toward her, and then that pays off at no point. She just hops back up. They start fighting again, and then oh gosh, how does it even lead to it? She gets pinned at some point and stabbed. He stabs.
Yeah,
her with
she
the
gets
crown.
stabbed by the crown. Yeah.
She gets stabbed by the crown, immediately falls over as though she's been poisoned, can't move, blah blah blah. It's just these sequences where it's like, realize what you're doing. you have shown us that she cannot move. She's been stabbed. She's barely crawling on the ground. Then literally 3 seconds later, she hops up again and backs toward the cliff. And it's like, well, there's no consistency whatsoever to this fight. The stupidest, it's just like, hey, it'd be cool if the rock fell. What do we do for that? I don't know. They keep fighting. There's no thought in this. Like, you guys have to go watch the clip of this fight because it's the stupidest progression I've ever seen. And then she backs up to a cliff and just decides to jump backwards. But instead of like, a point where I'd be like, okay, that makes sense to have an eagle come, that's the one point I'd be okay with them copying Lord of the Rings, have an eagle. She just plows into a tree, just and hits the ground. I was like, there was no thought put into this fight at all. Literally nothing led to the next point. It was just like, hey, what should we happen? We should have them fight on the rock. Okay. And then we should have them fight near the edge. Okay, and she needs to get stabbed by the crown at some point, but she also needs to jump off, so she can't be dead by the crown. But she got to act like she's dead by it. It's just zero thought whatsoever in this whole sequence. I
have a big question.
So stupid.
Why is he transforming during this fight? Is he trying to like emotionally?
Just emotionally attacking.
Why
her.
Does that work in movies? You can see that it was the bad
who you're
guy.
Fighting. Yeah. like maybe if she, I don't know. Maybe like some of the dead companions. I don't know if he ever knew any of them, but like she doesn't care about anyone else that he like him younger. Who cares? Herself.
Kelly?
Who cares? Kelly. Who cares? It's like
who cares, man?
I don't know.
Okay.
It is a very, 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 very stupid progression of a fight, and I hated it.
So before she jumps off the cliff, they hear a horn. Who is these people coming? It's finally the dwarves.
They just appear out of nowhere.
They turn the tide. The elves just magically fight better because the dwarves are here.
And they're just on the walls everywhere, just surrounding everything. It's
barely peeking over that ledge.
They look cool though. And
then it's like the dwarf lieutenant. I don't know his name. I don't know what he is, but he's there, and everyone's all happy. He's like, "Oh, Durin's here," and he's like, "No, Durin is sad." So
Papa
he didn't
died.
come. Yeah. This was funny when so they have the king and he's at knife point and they hear that horn and he's like, "Oh." He makes that funny face, so I laughed at that quite a bit. So
what's up, bro?
He's still trying to seduce her, right? He's like, "I would have made you a queen. Everyone would have bowed down to you."
Oh my!
And she's like, "Oh, you want this ring?" And he's like, "I'm going to heal the world. I'm going to heal all Middle Earth from all this violence and darkness."
He's like, "I am the Lord of the Rings." Looks at the camera, winks,
and she says, "Heal yourself." And just like
holds backwards.
She might as well just go F yourself.
I hate this show.
Oh, Papa Elf.
No.
Yeah, Papa Elf gets shanked.
What about baby Orc? He's gonna be sad.
He's gonna grow up and he's gonna get his revenge on Sauron someday. So
good.
He'll be the hero of the story. Elrond is there
because they can't. Pop?
Yeah, they can't. I have eaten one, so they can't wake up Gladys because she fell off a cliff and she's dead. He's trying to heal her. The king's trying to heal her, and Elrond finally comes and he's like, "I can heal her." Oh, I mean, we can heal her. So they put on the rings and then cuts the black. Goof off.
He's got a staff.
That's a staff.
Literally tripped over it.
Oh.
Looks pretty familiar, right, guys?
I guess.
So whenever AKA Saruman blows up that whole inner camp, apparently this stick just fell on the ground and Goof off tripped over it. And that's how he found his staff, Thomas. How did that make you feel?
I don't know.
Just wait, there's more.
Yeah. So he's happy he found his staff, right? So he's saying goodbye to all of the little people, and they're like, "Goodbye, Grand Elf." They keep calling him Grand Elf, so he's like, "Okay." He runs back to Tom, all happy, because he found his stick, and he's like, "Did you find your name?" And it's like, "Yeah, Gandalf, because I can't pronounce R's, I guess." Because they called me Grandolph, but I'm going to call myself Gandalf.
Looks like he walked in on Tom doing something. Look.
He's always doing something, man.
Tom just looks like I've been waiting for you.
Dude, he is full of sexual prowess, that Tom. So this is probably where the episode should have ended. So they just start singing Tom's song. And I guess he's going to learn the Jedi magic by this song. But no, there was some other stuff at the end. Poppy gives this big old speech about how, you know, some things just can't be fixed. They have to remain broken. And, you know, because Lord of the Rings. And then we get a lot of montage. And then finally, we meet our Rebel Alliance. And they're standing there. I guess this is Rivendell. It's supposed to be Rivendell or something like that. And they're like, you know, we lost pretty bad. We got spanked, but you know, we're good. You know, we're the champions. And
You know,
like,
it's one of those things where you have to realize Galadriel's extremely tall.
yes.
This woman is like 5 foot nothing.
Yep. So it's like this big celebration song at the end, even though they got their butts kicked. It's like the end of Star
Ewoks
Wars episode 4.
Singing Num Num.
Yeah, it's like instead
Episode
it should
6.
be like Empire Strike Back, where they're kind of sad looking away because they just got their butt kicked. But no, this is the Rings. And look at
The end of the series.
But now, Jared,
We're supposed to get 3 more. We're supposed to get 3 more.
Oh, goody. I was sad. I was like, oh, no more.
So
What's crazy about this is that there's supposed to be an alliance of elves and men, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, men haven't done jack in this series so far.
Because they don't have a king, Thomas. They have a
They're
queen.
figuring that out.
I can't even like.
They should already be founding Gondor and Arnor at this point. Like,
That's what
if there's already
Isildur was going to go do. But
well, he should already have been doing this, like by like way before now at this point. And we haven't even been like there's no Angmar. I'm just
We didn't have time for that because we have to have Gandalf and Saruman in the Second Age when they shouldn't get there till like the Third Age.
they weren't there.
And hobbits, for some reason, who were also not there in the Second Age.
You guys are really confused with your Lord of the Rings lore.
there was
You're all kinds of surprised.
there was another piece that I thought was they're taking from other series now. So
Yeah.
is it
If there's a talking lion, I'm going to lose my shit.
No, it's
Like,
they're stealing from Aragon. Is it? I think it's it's the third one, the third book. Whenever basically the third book with the dwarves is basically just going to happen in season 3. Basically, they go back, they show Durin, and he's talking to his wife, or whatever the heck, and they're like, "Oh, but your brother might fight for the throne, so there's gonna be a giant war of the coronation of who's going to be the next king in the mountain." I'm like, great.
There wasn't one though.
So we can
Prince
have
Durin,
We're
the
gonna have
third,
a
like a
bunch
third,
of useless stuff again.
like he's like he's like Elendil. Like
So what we're gonna do,
he's
Tom, is
super important.
we're
We
gonna
need
take
soap opera drama, Thomas.
we're gonna
That's what
take
we need.
we're gonna take the Numenorian storyline, just shift it over to the dwarves for the next season, because
Those aren't Numenorians. I'm sorry. Like we can call them a lot. They're not.
like
They're not Numenorians.
literally the only thing that happened with them in this season was Bird showed up, Eyebrow Man became king. Snake showed up, they questioned if he was king. Paper showed up, he was still king, and then Swordman rode off. That's
Papers
literally
literally
the only things that happened.
So pointless.
There is nothing of import.
Kelly died?
Kelly
Kelly
died.
died.
What are we going to do without
He got
him?
speared,
Oh,
and
In
Have
the
all the
lore,
rings
they
been
carry
forged
him
yet?
around dead.
Yeah.
So we'll see if they do that.
he's basically crucified. But have all the rings been forged at this point?
yes,
Yes.
Okay.
Except for the one ring.
true.
Okay, cool.
And they did it backwards because they did the elves first.
we got that part. Yeah, I just remember when that happened in the first season. I was like, why are the rings showing up already? That's a little odd, right? And then
it's Lord of the Rings. Thomas.
as we learned from Celebrimborn, apparently.
he named the whole story. But it's okay, guys, because IGN gave this an 8.
Okay,
And-
seriously,
this
how do you
episode,
give
yeah.
Joker a 5 and this an 8? Like, How much is Amazon paying you at this point?
And
Really?
it's also okay because Dr. Corey Olson has come out. He's also known as
That
the
dude-
token professor.
That dude is a traitor.
And he
that dude-
says that there is no canon in Lord of the Rings, despite the fact that there is an entire book
There's
just
appendices of
establishing
canon.
canon. There is no
Cool.
canon. Tolkien never
How much
meant
how
there-
much did Bezos personally pay this asshole?
He gave him
Tolkien
a-
never meant for there to be canon. It was always changing, I guess.
It's,
It's
like
not like he
water,
wrote
it's
an
fluid.
entire language just for this story.
What do you mean? He wrote 7 languages for this,
Oh, man.
this story.
That is absurd, dude.
And
You know,
that
The
is-
story
honestly-
is whatever
honestly,
you need it
I
to be,
wish-
Thomas.
I
Whatever
wish-
you need it to be.
I wish Tolkien and C.S. Lewis were around for this
No,
because
poor guys.
no. The reason why is because they're World War One veterans and they would have just kicked this guy's ass, like probably beat him to death. I'm just like,
so what are your predictions?
What if
for-
they were
Oh my
around
God.
and he loved it? What if C.S. Lewis loved it?
There's no
What if he surprised you and he's like, no, I kind of like
there's
this.
way too much humanism for him to like this. Like he hated that probably the worst of all.
He's like, Grand Elf. I get it.
grand. I should have thought of
Now,
that.
Granted, he probably would have like laughed at it because him and Tolkien were severely competitive about things, like in a good way.
I heard a
but-
joke that they're like, oh, for Solomon, they're going to be one of the hobbits is going to be that guy's a real sour man.
Oh, it's so it was 100% a Han Solo getting his name moment. For
Yeah,
Gandalf.
it was.
Just
So
like,
low.
so low. It's like Gandalf.
That's what passes
That will
as
be
good writing in Hollywood these days.
obscene,
Also-
dude.
That scene in the Han Solo movie, I was just like, does Spanish exist in
I
Star
know.
Wars?
Solo.
Because that's kind of freaking me out a little bit.
Of course, you got Chewie Buck.
That's true. You got Chewie. You got Andor Mexicano over there. So
It Biggs. He was rocking the stash.
Oh,
So
thank God it's over.
it's over
now.
for now. What is your predictions for season 3?
I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna go. I have no clue. I didn't know they were
They're
gonna go
good.
this bad.
It's shocking that they're like throwing Star Wars and other stuff into it. It's just shocking that they're doing that.
What kills me though is that they're sticking to their guns that, oh no, this is good. Yeah.
Oh, I bet Smaug makes an appearance. He's probably gonna be like,
Oh, he comes back.
Hey.
Or no,
Yeah.
he's a baby.
yeah,
I
baby's
don't know how old he
ready.
is, but yeah, give me baby Smaug.
We
It's
haven't gone
still
to the north
Benedict
yet.
Cumberbatch, because he will do anything for that job. But
We haven't gone to the north yet. That's where the fire.
Yeah, but
doors
we've
are
gone
from.
Comes to
east.
you. The North comes to you.
there is no north south in this anymore.
Dude, that season was abysmal. Like legitimately, so little. The Hobbits did not need to be in the season. The Numenoreans did not need to be in the season. The Elves barely need to be in the season. Like we should just follow the Orcs around and what they're doing. They're the only ones doing things, moving around stuff.
I know Orc Daddy. He had the whole arc. This season.
It's just the
Oh,
betrayal
man.
of Orcs is what the season should have been called.
Dude,
That's-
between, I don't know what's worse, this or the Acolyte. These were some
I
of the
didn't-
worst
thank God I didn't
shows
watch
I have
Acolyte.
ever seen.
This season
Jesus
was
Christ.
horrible.
I don't.
Okay, it's a good-
I don't know. I don't get it.
I actually
don't get
paid
it.
attention. I initially in this last episode, 'cause, like the past 4 episodes, I was just like had it on the background. But I paid attention. I watched this whole episode. I physically kept my eyes on the TV.
You were
was
delinquent
bad.
at work because you were watching this movie.
He didn't have his chips and salsa this
I
time.
had no chips and salsa at work. It's very sad. Yeah, I don't know. I do. Oof, thank
Did you
God.
imagine just eating chips and salsa at work all the time?
It'd be gross because I'd probably get
Because-
metal shards in it. It'd be
I know.
painful and nasty.
Whoa.
All right, so this kind of ties into the news this week.
Jeez.
Variety came out with a report that said all of Hollywood's problems is toxic fans. Because, you know, but when they say toxic fans, they just mean people with taste and who know good stories when they see one and haven't been seeing good stories. So that's Hollywood's problem, man. It's just all the fans' fault. And there was another one. Hollywood Reporter asked, "Is Disney good for Star Wars?" So questioning if Disney did good with Star Wars. At the very end of the article, it says, yes, Disney is good for Star Wars. And the reasoning was, it's you get what you fans wanted this. You wanted more Star Wars, so who cares if it's good or not?
We already had Star Wars. We
I
had
hate
20.
that argument. Like, oh, you're getting some. Yeah. Sucks.
Who cares if it's good or not? It's just Star Wars, guys. What else? You guys, Ubisoft. Okay, Ubisoft.
Oh my god.
Still in the new Ubisoft will not leave us. So, latest on them is they're looking to get bought out by this group of minority investors in this company called Tencent, which is a Chinese company. So they are
That's
looking
not
to
good.
sell. I don't know. Could they do any worse than Ubisoft?
No, I'm just saying in general, because generally when they buy something like that, they just tear it out and sell it off.
Yeah, true. Disney stock was downgraded because even the parks are doing bad. Rachel Zegler, we haven't really talked about her much on this show, but she's blaming the fans again, saying she had this interview. I'm sure you guys have seen it with her and Gal Gadot, and they're talking about how, it's this story is not a romance, and
Outdated, Joseph.
she's not going to get saved by the prince. And so she came out and she's like, "Oh, that's just jokes. I just, fans need to learn when I'm joking and stuff like
She's
that."
reeling it back.
Yeah, so she's trying to step back. I don't know if you guys saw, but she put like support Palestine on her Twitter, even though her co-star isn't Israeli. So wow, real way to have
the anti-Semitism shining through, and it's just great to see nowadays. Because it's about to be October 7th, the anniversary, so it's great to see.
You guys know who Caitlin Clark is? So she's this WNBA player who she's kind of like the LeBron James of the WNBA now. It's like
she actually has some talent.
Yeah, the league's never seen talent like this before. And she's a white woman, okay? She's a straight white woman, so they hate her. She gets so much hate. She gets beat up on the court. They're like poking her in the eye, and they won't call fouls. So real diverse, guys. Way to be diverse in the WNBA. But anyway, her team got eliminated from the playoffs, and their ratings have just tanked because people just want to watch her. They don't care about the WNBA. They've never cared about the WNBA. They just want to see.
That's what's hilarious about all this is that people are complaining about Caitlin Clark. I'm like, people are watching the WNBA right now, right?
Yeah.
People don't watch the WNBA like at all.
It was getting good views on NFL Sundays, so it was crazy that they're attacking her, and it's just racism. And then the last news I have, which should terrify us all, a Rugrats live action movie is in the works, and the babies are going to be CGI. So look forward to that.
Ugly nightmares. One eye's just starts going off in a direction.
Dude,
remember that Twilight baby? That's what we're gonna get.
Dude, just kill this project now.
It's live action?
Yeah, live action with CGI babies.
So just CGI babies is all it's going to be. It's just a Disney live action thing.
The adults, I'm guessing, are going to be real.
Yeah, but do you even see adults in that show?
Yeah, you see them all.
I have not seen.
Stu Pickles.
Stu is like every guy. Like he's like
Drew.
He's just
I love that meme with them in the pool, and it's like, this is you guys now or something.
No,
you grew up watching the babies, but now it's just you guys in the pool.
The existential horror of a millennial is realizing Stu is 34 years old. You're just like, oh.
All right. So that is it.
Dude, who are they gonna get to play Stu? He's the best character in that show. He's hilarious.
Who could play Stu? You know what? Ben Stiller could have when he was younger.
Matthew Perry when he was alive, but oh well.
So we have no answers for you right now. They're probably going to give it to someone we don't care about.
It's gonna be like Zac Efron.
The guy who plays Isildur, he'll be Stu. All right.
Oh,
And he'll gather the babies and be like, "You are the Rugrats."
Bunch of Rugrats we got here.
Oh man.
Okay, so that's it for the news and Rings of Power. We're finally done with that. We don't have to do it again. We can go back to regular bonus stuff programming. So, homework. Who had a little bit of it?
I only have like 2 things, I think.
I had like 2 things.
I've been studying.
Okay, Thomas, you go first then.
I just been watching Scrubs, basically. It's something I can put on the background when I'm studying. So weirdly enough, though, I was talking with my dad about it because he watched Scrubs when it first aired, and he was kind of obsessed with it. They ran out of a lot of the musical rights, and so some of the scenes are different because they have different music in it. And I was just going through, I'm like, I could have sworn that song's different.
Really?
And yeah, he told me, he's like, oh yeah, I noticed that about a year ago when they were rerunning Scrubs. He's like, the music's different and it hits different. So it's just kind of odd. Besides that, I really haven't watched anything. I did, however, get something. So pardon me. 1 second.
Hey, he's gone.
Vanished?
He did that on purpose.
I know, I did that on purpose.
Oh no, I don't like the way this
Keep it that way, Joel. So it's somehow black out his screen.
It's not what you think.
It's gonna be.
That's worse. It's not what you think.
He's got a big Rings of Power poster that he's.
He's just the Carhartt logo.
How did that happen?
Just shaves the Carhartt logo into his chest.
Thomas, we can't show this on YouTube.
He's got a back tattoo, like just full Carhartt.
Do you guys like Scrubs? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I like Scrubs.
This means nothing to me.
Liquid Death pink shirt.
Liquid Death pink
Sweater?
Sweater.
It's my birthday gift to myself.
His Halloween costume.
Well, I got this for my Japan trip.
You're gonna rep Liquid Death and not That's Good Stuff. So
That doesn't go in there.
You don't know that. There might be a pocket right here and you have no idea.
That would be kind of cool.
Just be like, hey,
Pop quizzes.
what up?
We got the Scrub pop quiz. Who's your favorite character, Thomas?
Probably Dr. Cox.
Who's your what's your favorite episode?
The one where they have a transplant patient that gives multiple organs, but it turns out she has rabies, so it kills 3 of the patients. And Dr. Cox has a breakdown. It's a good episode.
The Scrubs got
Yes, it's about a hospital. It gets dark all the
I
time.
thought it was a funny show.
I didn't know this was Dr. House.
I know.
It is funny, but it's super dark. There's one where JD and Turk talk to a guy that's dying, and there's nothing they can do about it, so they just talk to him.
All right, last question. How many episodes of Grey's Anatomy have you seen, Thomas?
I have seen none.
Okay. That's the right answer. All right, Michael, what do you got for us?
I only have 2 things. What?
How many Grey's Anatomy have you seen, Michael?
I don't think I've ever seen it. I know Danielle would watch it sometimes, but I don't think I ever sat for a full episode. I also don't. I get squeamish with doctor stuff, and it makes me icky. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. No, like I can handle brutality of like guts and gore and everything, but if it's precision stuff like that, it makes me real uncomfortable, and I don't like it.
What about Dr. Pimple Pop?
Gross. Like, I don't like needles. I don't like none of that junk. Get it out of me. I don't want to hear. I've never seen Scrubs either, even though Alex has seen
really
a lot of it. Alex watched a bunch of it, but I've never seen any of it. But what I did watch this week was there's new anime on Netflix that I just kept seeing art from. It was called Dan Da Dan.
I watched
Apparently,
that.
Oh, yeah,
apparently
I
now
heard
it's
of
on Crunchyroll, the first episode. Went in not knowing what to expect, but it's a story about two young school students at school doing school things. One is a believer in ghosts, one's a believer in aliens, and then the opposite happens to each of them. One of them gets abducted by aliens, the other one gets haunted by a ghost.
But do they see spirals?
There were probably spirals in that episode. I don't remember fully, but
Got
Spirals.
intense with those aliens. I was like, man, they're getting a little.
aliens were. It's an MA rated show, and the
Oh, really?
aliens were wanting to get up in there. Man, they were all about it.
Probe.
And then the ghost
Wanted to play a little Grey's Anatomy.
the ghost person just wanted the little boy to suckle its teeth. That's all the ghost person wanted. So it's one of
Oh,
those.
yeah, I forgot about that.
It's one of those animes that's like it's so close to going over the line for me, but they didn't quite do it, which is impressive for how ridiculous I'm making it sound. So I was interested in it. It has probably got to be one of the best openings I've ever seen in any anime ever. The style is
Really?
amazing. The music's amazing. I was like, this is dope as heck. But
I like the ending. Did you watch the ending?
I don't remember it, but I think I watched it.
He's like, there's an ending.
It might have. It was on Netflix, and they kick it over to something else so
Mhm.
fast. I
Oh,
probably
yeah.
didn't catch all of it.
Yeah.
Don't watch us.
But yeah, so the art's very cool. Characters are interesting. It didn't like, I'm not dying for the next episode, but I'll probably watch it. And then the other thing I watched was, I don't know if you guys remember the trailer for that movie DD back last year or so. Is like the coming of age story of a young Asian.
The videographer guy.
Oh,
Yeah, it is
yeah.
the videographing. So it's on Paramount now if you guys want to watch it. Paramount? No, Peacock.
Oh.
My apologies. Peacock.
I always get those two.
I know.
One of the P's.
Get rid of
Hate
Paramount.
them.
No one has it. Get it out of
Or
here.
just combine them so
Yeah,
we don't
do
have
something.
to worry about this.
Anyway, I knew everyone said it was great. I kind of went in expecting it to be great. It is great. It's a very real story. I expected it to be funnier. It does delve into the much more emotional, deep kind of struggles of this kid and goes in directions I didn't expect it to. But I don't know. It's kind of growing up at the time where we did, even though I missed all the MySpace and Facebook's never had it. But he's on AOL Messenger and all that junk. So it's a very of the times kind of movie, and just kind of him dealing with the difficulties of who he is and what he wants, and then that kind of bouncing between who he hangs around and his fear of ever being honest. He just can't say what he wants ever throughout the whole movie, and it's very, very frustrating. Just want to slap. I'm like, kid, just be honest. I don't know. I thought it was really good though. I think it was a directorial debut of this director. I don't remember his name, but I don't know. Definitely worth a watch. 100%. It's very good. That's all. I think that's all I did.
I never had a MySpace page, but I liked visiting people's
I
MySpace
did.
pages.
It was
So-
weird. Because I'm not familiar with it at all, and so seeing like the whole kind of
The music
bleh on the
Yeah.
thing, it was just like a mess.
I had a MySpace page and I never remember deleting it or doing. I don't remember my
Let's
login.
go find it.
It's still
I
there.
don't know
yeah.
how to find it. I was
We
just
should
like,
make
huh,
a video.
I have that.
Just next
Finding
bonus stuff is
common
us just checking out
Looking at your
Thomas's
MySpace
page.
I don't even know if MySpace is
I
around.
have no
He's
Actually,
like- He's like, oh, it's just Nickelback on the front.
MySpace
Well-
was good for music, man. You find
well,
Yeah, it
I
was.
know, and I know. This is weird. I knew a lot of people who used it for band communication, like between like finding gigs and stuff. That was a big thing in the early 2010s. Like MySpace kind of came back for a few years because that's how bands communicated. It was weird.
Speaking of bands in Grey's Anatomy, did you know the Fray came back, Jared?
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really like it, but they're back.
Rude.
Yeah, they just can't recapture that old sound. These
Speaking of music, this past weekend was nuts. So Coldplay's album dropped. James Bay's album was out. Phineas's
He has a
album
new
was
album?
out. Yeah, it's really good too. I liked it a lot. It's way more like his first one, just kind of him with a guitar doing stuff. But I really enjoyed it. It's very good.
Who else did you say?
Coldplay's album came out. I like some of the songs. Some of it's just like I feel like it's just kind of Coldplay's more of what they've done in the last album. So it kind of just it feels like an expansion of the last album. But there are a couple songs I'm like, oh, these are bops, but nothing that really got me going crazy.
Nice.
Jared, how many episodes do you believe Thomas has actually seen of Grey's Anatomy?
At least 2.
Okay.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah, 2.
At least
The only music I have is I listened to the second new single from Linkin Park with their new singer, And it's a lot more Linkin Park-ish. Because Mike Shinoda, I think that's how you say his name, was actually like rapping on it. So I was like, oh, this is all right. But still, that's not the same. But
Did you listen to both of the Myriad singles?
not yet, just one of them.
Yeah, I haven't listened. I keep forgetting to listen to the new one. From
I
the
did
clips
watch
I've
some-
seen, it sounds good.
I did watch something else. I've been listening to Critical Role, and Vox Machina just came out with the new season.
Mm.
So I watched the first 3 episodes of that. So it's good. There was a scene that I was not expecting, and nobody else was too. We're like, whoa. So yeah. People are making that noise, if that makes any
It's
They're
like,
owls.
no, I didn't say who. I said, oh.
I actually don't know what you mean by that, but
we don't know.
my list got shorter because people keep shortening it because we're gonna watch Salem's Lot next time.
Mm.
I watched that, but anime I watched Dandadan as well because Chris loves the manga and he was really excited about this coming out, so I said I'd watch it. And yeah, it looks good. Like that opening looks great. Same guys that did like the ping pong animation, same studio as that. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like Michael, I'm not like I can't wait for the next episode, but it'll be good to watch with other things. And then Bleach came back, the first episode of the 3rd season.
It's the last one, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it should
Really?
be. It should be.
I think it is. Yeah.
You never know if there's like a part 1, part 2, but
Well,
it
that's
should
what I
be.
mean is that I know like they basically like took their time with the Blood War, which I thought was kind of interesting that now they're taking time with it when they couldn't wait for it to finish last time. So
It's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's a pretty good episode.
got to see the Okabe guy fight more, and
have
the
you met?
Bankai for the Zero Squad.
I was gonna say Zero Squad showed up, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And that was a
then-
cool Bankai. Kind of
Yeah,
like torturing all the people in there at the same time.
it's kind of we get to see what's up with Uryu because
Yeah.
he was just there. We
He
didn't know
got some fighting in.
Yeah,
That was pretty cool. And he's got like this weird technology thing going on in his glasses.
and then
Got them techno glasses.
the very end had like the most stuff in it. Like after the credits, I was like, why didn't they just put this after the episode? But they reached the Soul King, and you get the reveal of the relationship, the main bad guy and him.
Is he actually going to do something?
We don't know.
But yeah, it was a really good episode. Other than that, I
They
watched.
keep teasing Eisen, man.
Oh man, they're teasing that Eisen
Eisenhower?
and everything he knows.
And we got it, yeah. And the bad guy made a bold claim that he knows everything. So who really? knows it
So
all?
Eisen can't let that happen because he knows everything. I
It's like,
can't
I'm
wait
playing
till he.
this.
I can't wait till he. Can't wait till he appears.
So
I
that
watched
chair.
smug as heck, even though he's all bandaged up.
Still know it all.
I planned this. I planned to be in the chair. I watched a few movies. I watched The Krampus, which
The Krampus.
back when it first came out, I was supposed to go on a date to see The Krampus, but she took someone else, and I didn't get to see The Krampus. I wasn't very upset about not getting a date. I was upset not seeing Krampus because I really wanted to see it.
Krampus.
So I finally saw The Krampus, and it is okay. It's better than I thought.
Johnny keeps trying to get me to watch it every year. I've never done it.
A weird, like, it's a weird compliment, but like a weird thing about that movie. Apparently, the sound design for it is pretty great. Just everything sounds like the chains moving and everything. Like the sound effects for it all sounds really cool. I didn't really pick up on that until Red Letter Media said something about it. I'm like, oh no, you're right. That is kind of an odd competency thing for a movie like this.
Were you there when we? It was me and Johnny. I don't remember if you were there, but we were watching that weird like Finnish movie about
who
Santa
was you?
Claus. Oh, Jared. Because we remember that. Do you remember that? It's like Santa, and there's like, I don't remember, shipping containers, and there's all kinds of death going on.
There are a surprisingly large amount of like
Horror Christmas movies.
like strange
yeah.
like strange Santa Claus movies. Like, have you guys ever heard of Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny?
Mhm.
Yes, I've seen that.
I have to. And it's
seen it.
ridiculous.
It's
It's like, why does this
boring as
exist?
heck.
Santa versus the devil.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Yeah,
Santa versus Nazis. I mean, Santa versus anything,
Why?
honestly.
the Martians.
Martians, zombies, vampires,
Why?
werewolves. Those all exist.
Dude, we need to make a Christmas movie. That's what we need to do in the future. Or even a Thanksgiving movie, man. I think we could do it.
No
We could
Hanukkah movie? Really? All right,
Okay,
cool.
Hanukkah.
Appreciate it.
We'll
I
have
know-
a little
I feel-
5-minute
I feel-
segment. We'll have a little animated scene with you in
Oh, I get
stop
it.
motion.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll do Thanksgiving because we could all agree on it. So we'll finally
Sure, why not?
make that Thanksgiving movie because there's only like one,
I
right?
want to do Arbor Day.
Okay, Arbor. What? We'll figure out a day for us.
Yeah. Happy Leif Erikson Day. Hinga dinga durga.
Oh my.
Oh. But yeah, I like the character designs in Krampus, like the elves and the little gingerbread men. They were cool. And the actual Krampus.
Do you think Krampus was going to break out a electric guitar and do a metal cover of some kind?
No,
Would you be upset if he did?
no. That'd be
Maybe.
pretty cool.
I know, right?
And then I saw the TV Glow.
I actually watched that a couple
Oh,
weeks ago.
I watched
You
that
watched
too.
but I
Well,
just
go ahead and give your synopsis, guys.
Crap! I forgot I watched that movie.
I just didn't ever bring it up because I don't know how I feel about the movie.
Same,
Everyone's heard it from their
exact,
Go ahead,
exact
Jared.
same.
Well, let
Yeah,
Jared
go-
tell us.
go.
I'll
Jared.
start off. So I saw the trailer for this when me and Jonah saw. I forget what we were seeing, but I saw the trailer. I was like, "Man, that looks terrible." And Jonah was like, "Mm-hmm." But it was on. People were reviewing it, and then I saw it on Max. So I was like, "I'll watch it." It says horror, but
It's not horror.
I don't know.
Not really. But,
I didn't know it was A24. But I watched it. And at first I was like, I don't know. This because it's like horror drama. That's what it's categorized as. It's really just drama. At first I was like, this is okay. And then it went on a little bit more. I was like, all right, maybe it's doing something. And then it did nothing. And then I like Justice Smith. Like, I like him as an actor, and he was like the main dude in this, and he was fine in it. But this movie has like no characters. Like, we follow him, but I don't feel anything for him. I don't feel anything for anyone. And then this movie is really bad about like telling you. And you know how Michael says, "Show you, not tell you," or whatever. They tell you everything. They like look at the camera, say what's happening, say what's gonna happen, and like,
where have you been? Well, here's where I've been for the past like 5 years.
and there's like, you start to get into it, and there's a time skip. You start to get into it again. There's a time skip, and there's time just going and going and going. I guess one of the themes out of this was like how time could just slip by if you're not paying attention, or when you're getting older, it just like goes by in seconds. But pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I did not like it that much. Michael, did you like it? Did you?
I don't think so. I don't know, because it's a weird, because a lot of it is playing with reality and like, are they a TV show program thing or not? It's a weird, like, there are different layers to what is TV in this movie. And I don't feel like any of the answers were satisfying. They kind of leave it up in the air, in my opinion, from what I remember the ending. This was like 3 weeks ago that I watched this. But it's also kind of like, yeah, that is it. But then I don't know, it goes back and forth so many times, like Jared said, like the time skips. I'm just like, oh, we're changing seasons here, and I didn't.
They were jarring too. They weren't subtle.
Yeah, the characters. I like the actress. She's from a show I watched. I think I'm throwing a blank on which one it was because I'm mixing up two people now. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, she was from Atypical. She was the sister in Atypical on Netflix, and she's very good. And I liked her performances, but but there was no satisfying conclusion because you have this weird mystery the whole time of why are they so obsessed with this weird children's show, and it's a weird. Gosh, now I feel like I should have talked about this when I first watched it because I just could never nail down what I think because it's like
there's like this random like message at the end where like your memories aren't always what you were like things from your past aren't always how you remember them because the show that they were obsessed with when they were watching it they said it was dark, they said it was creepy, and then he's like, oh, it's on streaming now, you don't need a disc or anything, you just pop it on, and then he's watching it and it's like really like cheesy and stuff like that. But that was like the last 5 minutes of the movie, and it didn't like it just came out of nowhere. Like it had all these messages, but it didn't know which one to like go throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, maybe I need to watch because I was actually going to watch someone else like give their interpretation of it or something because I don't feel like I fully grasp, like you said, what it was trying to say or what the point of the whole thing was. Because it's like they have that extreme obsession with it, but it's like, oh well, like
so. I watched it again a while back. I was kind of interested in it because it's A24, and I was like, oh, kind of a horror A24 movie. Why not? Watched it. And I was like, okay, am I missing something, or am I getting like an impression of something that I don't like? So I went through some interviews with like the director and the writer, and kind of came across some stuff I wasn't really thrilled about. A lot of what this movie is about trans identity and how your perception of yourself isn't exactly always what people see. And so it's a very odd thing. But the one part that really kind of just, I didn't really like it at the end. So at the end, when he carves himself up and he like, you can see the static, kind of made me feel icky. Because if they're saying it's like, oh, you're not really yourself until you carve yourself up, like the whole trans identity part, I was just like, that's not really something I'm behind. So I really don't really care for that at all. But
yeah, that was the main like focus of the movie is like the trans part, because he doesn't ever feel like he is himself. I didn't feel like it was until Thomas mentioned that last part, like it was too bad. But yeah, again, now that you mention it, I was like,
yeah. Again, it was just something in the back of my mind. I was like, something's just off with this. What is going on? And then I watched like some of the interviews and read some of it. I was like, oh, that's why. And yeah, I don't really, not really behind that. That's kind of a dangerous, at least in my mind, a dangerous precedent to set. You don't feel yourself until you cut yourself. It's like, so.
This also just seemed like, was this the first like thing this director directed?
I think so. Yes,
it feels like the first thing.
It's very much an experimental movie. Which okay, I'll give it props. Some of the cinematography is good, but I can honestly say most of A24 stuff always looks cool. But I didn't really care for this one, especially when I looked further into it. I was like,
they just had like all these ideas, and if they just went with one this time, I feel like it would have been better.
But that's why I was just like, I didn't even mention it when I watched it. I was like, it's not really worth it. So, but does that make more sense now that you kind of got that feeling?
It's an interesting, yeah. I mean,
there's also music scenes in this, and they're like randomly. They're singing like it took time out of the whole movie just for a couple of performances that was like it just in the background, and then they focused on it, and I was like, why are we wasting time with this?
I kind of thought it would be more of like it sounds weird, like a Barney obsessed like person, almost like, oh yeah, I have really fond memories of this TV show when I was younger, and it turns out there's a darker like explanation behind it. It's not where this movie went. So
what was that YouTube channel with like the fake kid show that got really like
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared?
Yeah, that's what I forgot about that.
It sounds
the banana
odd.
You've never seen that?
Bananas in pajamas. Coming
the
downstairs.
Elder Tubs.
Well, yes.
Get in on that. That's all I did though.
All right. Michael, did you watch the second episode of The Penguin?
That is what else I did. I did do that.
What'd you think?
I liked it. I think show's still super strong.
I thought it wasn't as good as the first one, just because the first one was so good. I
Yeah.
don't think you could top it. It's just like one thing I really like about the first episode is it followed the penguin like the whole time. You saw his point of view the whole time. This one goes to like Sophia, and I like Sophia. It just I prefer them just to stick on the penguin, I guess.
That's Falcone's daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then some of it felt kind of samey from the first episode. Like we've already seen it, like the thing with his mom and stuff. It's like kind of been through this already, but yeah, it's still good though.
It's okay. IGN gave it a 5.
We'll watch. They did.
They did. They retracted it, but yeah. Well, not retracted it. They just got. They had to do somebody else to do it. Yeah,
someone else reviewed it and gave it an 8. So, episode 3 is tonight, so we'll check it out. I'm gonna go a little bit backward. I'm gonna go YouTube first. Watch some episodes from the Woke Critic. Pretty funny stuff.
Oh yeah,
he does it from like a point of view of like what a woke person actually liking stuff.
Completely embraces like the other side. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Pretty funny stuff. And then I watched episode of a channel called All Things Lost, which does like lost media. Pretty interesting stuff. But they did this episode on Food Fight, which is a CG animated movie, which is considered one of the worst movies of all time.
Didn't it cost like $130 million to make, something like that, because of all the licensing?
Yeah, because they use like store brand mascots like Captain Crunch and stuff like that. But like the humor in it's really like raunchy and stuff. So it's like, how did they get these brands to sign off on it? So there's some interesting stuff about it. So the guy who directed it, like he like made people do like put the like make nude assets for him for some of the characters, and then they actually had a game adaptation that was a demo at E3 one year, and it just kind of like disappears. So there was a lot of interesting stuff in that project. So then I went to movies. I watched an Amazon original called Killer Heat with JGL.
Is it worth it?
No, this movie was terrible. It wants very badly to be like a noir detective story, but it's terrible. The dialogue in the beginning is horrible.
I saw it says like a noir story, but then all the promos I've seen are like thirst traps of Richard Madsen shirtless. I'm just like, noir? Like, looks like a comedy.
And it fails at mystery because, you get one suspect. And I mean, sometimes that works if the mystery of how they did it is interesting, but it's not. It's just twins. They were twins, so that.
Look, Michael, twins.
Yeah. So yeah, it was not a good movie at all. Watched another movie called Wildlife. So this was what's his name? The guy who played the Riddler in the Batman.
Paul Dano?
Yes, this is his first directorial movie, and it has Jake Gyllenhaal. It's very well shot. It's very well acted. It's just not very fun to watch because it's basically this kid just witnessing his parents go through a terrible breakup. So it's beautiful. It looks awesome. It's just not a fun watch.
Paul Dano's one of those guys. I'm like, I really like you as an actor, but also you kind of disturb me in a really weird way. But like, I loved him as Riddler. I thought he was great, but I'm just like, and what is it? There Will Be Blood. I love his character in that, but I was like,
I would never want to be alone.
I would never want to be in the same room with her. Like, please just don't touch me.
But he did a good job directing. So, watch The Fighter. I've never seen The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. It's pretty good. Pretty good. It's it's pretty short. I don't really believe Mark Wahlberg is a fighter in that movie. He just doesn't look very convincing.
Weirdly enough, that was like a passion project of his.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like he got so it was kind of weird because you know how Mark Wahlberg was like really skinny like in the 90s, but like kind of ripped. He got huge like in the 2000s for like a long time, and this is why is that he could never get this project made, and then he finally got to do the project.
Their mom, man, their mom is nuts in that one. Not a good mom. And then I watched a movie called What You Wish For, which is on Hulu. So this movie was actually turned out pretty good. So I can't really tell you about it without spoiling. So I'm gonna have to, if you want
Who's
to
in it?
know. So I don't know his name. I don't know the people in this movie. It came out last year.
What You Wish For?
Nick Stahl.
Oh,
So this is a thriller movie. And so I'll tell you guys, if you don't want to hear it, like mute yourself or mute me or whatever. So this story is about a chef. He's kind of down on his luck, and he goes and visit his chef friend in South America. I think they're in Brazil or something, but he goes and visits him. And this guy, man, he's living in this fancy house. He's got all this money. And Nick Stahl's character's like, dang, man, you're living the life. How did you get this? And the guy's like, it's not all that cracked up to be. You know, I'm a personal chef. They fly me out to these places where I do one dinner, and then they fly me out somewhere else and they pay me a lot. So the guy's just like, oh man, I wish I had this job. Do you need a sous chef? I'll be your sous chef. And he's like, nah, you don't want this job. So one morning he wakes up and he finds that his friend has offed himself. So he shocked, but then he's dealing with like a gambling problem. So someone's asking him for money. So he needs money, right? So he's like, okay, I'll hide this guy's body, and then I will take his identity because he found his laptop and he got into his banking stuff somehow. So he's like, I'll take this guy's identity. So the company that hired the guy shows up, and it's this woman and this man, and they show up, and they're like, "Are you the guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the guy." And they're like, "Okay, well, how's dinner? The dinner's tomorrow. How's it going?" He's like, I can't really do it because I don't know Spanish, so I kind of need help with it." So they're like, "Okay," so they they drive him out to town, and they're like looking at the people in town because it's a little poor village, and they're like, "Okay, pick 2 cuts of meat," and and he's like, "What? Excuse me?" And like, 2 people. You got to pick 2 people to kill, and they're gonna turn them into meat for the dinner. And he's like shocked, but he has to do this because the company will, they tell him that they'll kill him if he doesn't do this. So he's got to cook this meal for these rich people, and
as soon as you said it's a thriller and it's about a chef, I was like, cannibalism.
Yeah.
Anybody?
First dish is pozole. He makes people pozole.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I almost went like, that's where pozole comes from, right? Is but the Aztecs used to eat people.
Well, that's his first dish for the rich people. Meanwhile, this detective's like, investigating where it's like, what is it, his nephew or his cousin or something, and he's like, because they killed the cousin, so he's like investigating what happened, and so he puts on this dinner, and meanwhile they're dealing with this detective, and like the people that own the business tell the customers, they're prepared for this to happen if cops show up. They pretend to be developers who are going to build a hotel in town. And, it's basically this guy trying to figure out how to get out of this because he doesn't want to do it. But, he can't because there's no way out because it's either make them food or they kill them because they're rich and powerful. Yeah, so they're rich and that actually does happen. So, Yeah, it was a good movie. I really liked it. I really liked the end. It felt like a Twilight Zone, like a morality tale, where it's like, be careful what you wish for, because you might have to do some not so nice stuff. So
I
pretty
love
good.
Pasole. It's good
Jared,
stuff.
they loved it on the movie too. They're like, this is
I'm not
awesome.
I'm not like dissing Pasole. I like Pasole as well, but it's more funny to watch like those Latin heritage YouTube channels, and then they like give the history of the dish, and some like the Gen X like Latinos or Latinx as they like to call themselves are like, wait, what? And then like the Walitas are just like, yep, that's where it came from.
It's the people's food.
Literally.
All right, that's all I did. Did you guys have any last memories of what you did this week? Anything kick in?
Thomas looks like strawberry ice cream.
Thomas.
I'm hungry.
And I
Looks
need
like-
2 scoops.
Whoa.
You're looking like strawberry ice cream right there, and I need 2 scoops.
All right, so that's going to do it for on that very disturbing image. We are going to end this show. So like, subscribe, and notify yourself for even more good stuff to come, and we will see you next time. Bye.